What is up, guys? This is Prince Pyramid, and we are back with another one, back with another great one guide, this time on the mule deer. So if you watched the previous video, then you'll know that this one came off with a community grind as well, just like the tar. The difference is this one, I do have a personal grind set up that is already 3,000 kills in, over 50 diamonds, multiple rares. So I do feel a lot more confident in giving you guys information on how you can hopefully get yourself a great one mule deer and put it in your lodge. So let's go ahead and head over to a ski ridge and I'll show you guys how I'm set up, and you can try to duplicate it and work with it and try to make it work for you as well. So I guess we're going to start with how you should set up your map. Now, me personally, I did mine on a ski ridge, but obviously you can go to Parquet or you can go to Silver Ridge. But here on a ski ridge, you have to hunt this zone, always a good zone in the far north. All these little lakes you saw, these two are really good zones. I use one tent and it kind of services both of those. These up here are zones I've shot down, but you will have to check them to begin with. This spot at the end of the river, which kind of opens up into that lake, your starting lake, this zone in the middle, which I will blow this zone out every time because basically they will just swap between one lake or the other one. I think it's because they're just home range to stay in this particular spot, so I don't worry about it too much. I will blow out the zones and they'll go to the other lake, blow out the zone, they'll come back. All these little lakes on this side I've shot down, but this zone right here still has some pretty good sized mule deer. This used to be a really hot lake. Now there's nothing that drinks at it. Going down south, you got these two zones still active for me. This will sometimes be active, sometimes a mule deer will hop in there. And then at the very end, I'll hit this zone, which is always really hot. And then you have these two zones, which sometimes you'll have deer and sometimes you won't. But basically, you don't have to worry about the river, and I think that's why a ski ridge is so popular. Again, you have these little lakes like that, and this one. But basically, north and south of the river, and to the west of the river that kind of goes upwards, those are the zones that you're going to find all of your mule deer. And it's really not as bad as you may initially think, especially once you get herd management going and you shoot down some of your zones. And it'll produce a ton of diamonds and it'll produce a ton of rares. So that's what I want to show you guys next. Just some of the hunts that occurred during this grind and some of the trophies we got along the way. First off, I want to show you guys the biggest mule deer we got along the way. We got this guy at the end of the river where that kind of opens up and becomes a lake. And there, you usually had maybe 2 to 3 shooters there at all times, especially on one side of the river. The other side, they would kind of come and go. But we took this guy down, and I think he's a 343. He is an absolute monster mule deer. There he is. What a beast. And by far and away, that's the biggest mule deer I've ever seen. And I don't even think it's been close so far. But this was the biggest mule deer we got along the way. But we also got several rares, and that's what I want to show you guys next. Some of my favorite rares that we managed to put in the lodge. So the next one is going to be my first encounter with a piebald. And at this point, guys, I'm not used to piebalds. Obviously, they were relatively new when the Great One Mule Deer came out. And there are 2 variations. And one variation is super obvious. And the other variation is basically impossible to tell. Of course, we get the one that is super hard to tell. And you'll see it in a second. I say impossible. You can spot it. But sometimes they're in the weeds or in the trees. And it's really difficult to tell. But you tell me, if you see this guy, would you just know right off rip that this is a piebald? And also, guys, some of the other things from this guide that I'm probably not going to include. Weapons. You guys by now know what weapons I'm going to tell you to hunt with. You should always hunt with a 300 because it's the best grinding weapon. You're going to get the best recoil management. It's got multiple shots. It doesn't kick that bad. It's the perfect weapon for grinding, the Arzina 300. And if it's ethical, I'm always going to tell you to hunt with the 30-06. This bad boy right here, the Hanson 30-06. But let's zoom in. Okay, besides that one spot right there, there's no way you would be able to tell that that is a piebald. And because nowadays they can get snow that accumulates on them, at first I was not sure this was a piebald. I took the shot with the 30-06 because I didn't want to mess it up in case it was a piebald. But without anything else to go off of, you would have just assumed that was a regular old mule deer with some snow on it. And it would have been quite disappointed if I shot it with a 300 because my rare rate on this grind sucks. This would be my only piebald in 3,000 kills, so it would have really been tough if we just shot it with a 300. But where did he go? Right there. There's the vital blood. And dang, the 30-06 did let him run, but also because I'm so used to the 300, I'm used to them dropping so quick right on spot. But there he is, guys. The piebald. I do like the rack, the clustery looking rack, you know. It's really tight. But this was the only piebald off the grind. So this guy meant a lot. Thank God I didn't shoot it with the 300. So next I want to show you guys my biggest dilute. We had several dilutes on the way, but this was the biggest one I killed. He was just a gold. I know a lot of people got super rares during this grind, but in 3,000 kills, we didn't get that many even rares, much less super rares. But some other tips for the grind. I always set my time about 2 hours into their drink time. And if you have your tents and tripods set up, you can basically make a full run in the time left and then start over. Other things, there are other maps you could do this on. My great one from the community grind, from the Old Man Rum Shield Wall grind, was obviously on Silver Ridge. You'll see that in a second. You could do your grind on Silver Ridge. You could also do your grind on Park A. You could also do your grind on Rancho. You see the dilute right there. So Rancho has the least amount of zones, so that's the benefit of that one, but it can get kind of thick in there, kind of like whitetail. You could do it on Parquet, but they're a little bit more spread out, and there's the river, so that's the reason why I wouldn't suggest Parquet. Silver Ridge would be cool, but I already had my setup for bear on Silver Ridge, so I would have been really limited on how many tents I could use, how many tripods I could use. So I was basically forced onto a ski ridge, and man, I'm not disappointed in that because it really turned out to produce a lot of diamond mule deer. And it's been a pretty painless grind, even though we still haven't gotten one yet. I will say the only thing that would make it better is if we had a better rare rate, but that is not a bad rare in itself, the gold dilute. But all right, guys, let's go ahead and head over to Silver Ridge Peaks and take a look at the great one. All right, guys, so this is the moment of truth. We are at the lake at the bottom of Silver Ridge, not the very bottom, but kind of the southern middle, if that makes sense, the wide open part where you would hunt pronghorn and stuff like that. But look at him. To me, that's my favorite rack. There's another rack that looks a little bit similar. It's a little bit bigger. I think they call it the classic rack. But these kind of type of racks that look more like a real deer, I prefer those to some of the crazier looking stuff. So I was really pleased. Plus the pedal puff looks a lot like the moose I have, the birch. So I couldn't think of a better combo. I do like the darker combo as well. Hopefully that's the one I get off my personal grind. But once we get in this tripod, we'll take him out. And this fella cooperated so much more than the tar. He's just giving us the perfect shot. The tar did not want to cooperate at all. and we end up getting at least a single lung. I'm pretty sure I double lunged him, but we'll find that out at the harvest screen. But guys, I can't tell you how much this one meant versus the other ones. I had gotten to 3,000 kills on my personal grind. Okay, at 3,000 kills, I'm not having fun anymore, right? I'm just basically trying to complete a task, if that makes sense. Like, you can only kill so many of the same animal over and over again before it's like, damn, dude, I'm ready for this to be over. So that was what I kind of got into on my solo mule deer grind. So getting this guy gave me a way to breathe where I didn't just go right back to my own mule deer. And again, like I said, with that rack, that has to be my favorite rack of all of them. But let's go ahead and take a look at our Great One mule deer. Right there, look at him. And I'm telling you, the fur looks so good, especially paired with the moose and the big rack as well. I definitely prefer this rack versus, you know, the corkscrew or even the fungus rack. Some of the racks that just look almost too fantasy-like for me, I prefer these. So I definitely pleased that this is the one we got, and I can't imagine going back to my solo grind anytime soon. Hopefully we can find it in us to get back over there and find him, but it may be a minute. But let's go ahead and head over to the lodge and see just how many trophies we got. And there it was, guys. And just to wrap up, I want to show you guys just how successful this has been. So this is the Mule Deer Grind Lodge. And as you can see, I mean, I don't even know what we're at. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I mean, we have a ton of diamond mule deer in here. So much so that I've gotten to the point now where I pretty much just shoot, unless it's going to be a 330 plus, I basically just shoot diamond mule deer with the 300. So only really big diamonds and rares make it these days. I just have run out of space pretty much. I mean, we got more of them in here. That whole row there's full of them. A couple here. Then you head upstairs and it's the same story. This guy, 338, he's one of the bigger ones as well. But here's my rares. Dilute, dilute, dilute. Another piebald. Dilute, dilute. And I think this is the leucistic. Yep. But I mean, of all my grinds, this has probably produced the most diamonds. I think I'm at the point now where mule deer are my most common diamond, which is kind of crazy because I've done 3 fallow Great One grinds. So mule deer did produce a ton of diamonds. Hopefully we get the Great One off of my personal grind relatively soon. I mean, geez, man, 3,000 kills. You'd think we'd already be there. But I think I'm going to wrap it up here, guys. So I've been Prince Pyramid, and this has been the Great One Mule Deer Guide. And until next time, everybody, have a good one.